Hello. Shows that I've got about 3 or 4 people waiting. 5 waiting. Trying to see how my everything was set up here. How is everyone today? Well, this evening. Oh, we got Dennis. We got Bonnie's Crafts. We've got Mrs. Meyer, Super Pappy. Let me get your names down because I'm going to try my best to get everybody's names so we can give them another chance at the drawing. Mrs. Meyer. Bonnie's Craft Room. Dennis. Bonnie met Tilly. And let's see, we've got Janice Country QT. Donna Placidia. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people in here so far. But yeah, we have not had a actual live where we have questions and answers about gardening, starting seeds, planting different things, what time to plant, all that type of thing. And that it reminded me of it in my live last night when I had a couple of people that were in the live asking me gardening questions. So I said, well, it's close to gardening season, so we've got to get busy. Oh, I got Cindy Powell. Barbara Mac, got her. Life with Pippentine. Derain. We've got Rudy. Radia. We got Darlene. Dennis says, what is the tallest collard greens you ever grew? My tree collards. I've got a tree collard out there that it's about 5 foot tall. And it would have been taller, but I broke the top of it off a couple of times through the summer. And I haven't checked it today. I'm afraid to check it because I'm afraid it's frozen. And if it hasn't already froze, it probably will in the next week or so, because it's going to get down like in the teens in about a week. It'll be 19 2 different nights. It's barely going to be above freezing during the day. And if the ice and the freezing temperatures we've already had has not wiped out most of my stuff, then next week will, I'm sure. Private channel from Vancouver, Canada. Tamara Angling. We've had floodwaters to the point of aggression for my holy plant that I have in my garden, but it survived great. Well, wow, that's pretty good. I guess we're getting some kind of system coming through next week because we'll have a couple of our coldest nights next week. It'll be down to 19. You know, it's just been playing around at freezing right now. It's been getting to 31, 32, 33. But yeah, next week there's going to be several nights it'll be 19 degrees. And we got Tamara Douglas in the house. How's it going, Tamara and Felicia? Getting another system in Tennessee. Well, we're getting another system too, I think, of some kind. Because we were spared with the snow and everything. We didn't get that. It just rained a lot and it was pretty cold. Wind blew. And through the night we got a little bit of sleet and just a tiny bit of snow. But by the time I got up the next morning and looked outside, there was just small patches of ice left. And you saw it in the video. Basically no ice at all, really. So I thank God for that, you know. We needed the rain. But I don't remember. It seemed like it was Cal something was asking me about when to start seeds indoors. And I was hoping he'd see the live posted and he'd be in here tonight so I could answer more of his questions. Because he said he was in Houston. And they're in zone 9B in Houston, which is a little bit warmer than we are here. I'm in zone 8B, basically. Dallas is 8. I'm in 8B, which I'm a little bit south of Dallas. I'm in a talking mood, but so are 5. Oh, you got the 5 grandkids with you? How neat. I can't remember the person's name. I want to say Calvin, but I know it wasn't Calvin. It was Cal something. Don't remember. But I had 2 people asking about planting last night. And there's Father Gatto. Let me get your name down again. How are you doing, Father Gatto? Oh, and there's another one, Rudy. Good. So you're doing good. It's 7:09 p.m. Central. Yeah, it's 7. It just rolled over 7:10 p.m. here Central Time. Give people a little bit more time to get in here before I start. And Lucky still has not come home. I know in my heart he is in someone's house, or they've got him shut up in a storeroom or a shed or something, because what I think they're going to do, they want the cat because he's a pretty cat, he's healthy. They've got a couple of cats, but they never let their cats outside. They feed them inside. They keep them locked up all the time. And I hate for them to do Lucky that way. I don't want to keep them locked up in the house all the time. I want them to get out and run around and be a cat, you know. They're more healthy if they're able to run around outside and, you know, be a cat. Let him come in, you know, at night or when it's cold weather or when it's rainy. But yeah, I know in my heart, Gladys, somebody's got him. He would not stay away, because I've called him every day, off and on, all day today. I called him up into the late night last night, off and on. That cat would be home if he was able to come home. They've got him locked up somewhere. And there's Patty C. How is Patty C doing? I'm pretty sure I know, but I'm not going to say because I can't prove he's my cat. I don't have paperwork on him. I don't have a chip put in him yet. See, that's what I was going to do when I took him in and got him fixed. When I had that appointment set for March 11th, I was going to have a chip put in and everything to where if he disappeared, I could track him down and prove that's my cat. And they must have heard my live, and they decided they were going to get him before I had a chance to do that. And now they'll take him in and do that, and they'll claim that they're his, you know, he's their cat. And there's Bonnie's craft room. I mean, I hate it. Sometimes I think people do stuff like that just because, you know, he was my cat. I mean, I know I take care of Little Buddy, and I love Little Buddy to death, but he's not my cat. He's my neighbor's cat. He stays over here all the time. I feed him. You know, he looked like he was starving to death, so I started feeding him. But I don't keep him pinned up to where he can't go anywhere. No, I don't think she's got him, but somebody close has. Oh, yeah, I got to put Gladys down. I mean, if I had 3 or 4 cats cooped up, locked up in my house that I never let out already, I don't think I'd want to put another cat in there. And I think the cats they've got are females. So I know they've got Little Buddy locked up in a separate room somewhere, a shed or storeroom or somewhere, until they can take him and get him fixed. I just hope they can live with themselves, because they know he's my cat. They know I've been taking care of that cat ever since the first of the summer. And I know they've not been feeding him, because that cat was hungry. Every time I put food out, he gobbled it up like he had not seen food. So nobody else can claim they were feeding him too, because they weren't. They don't feed Little Buddy either. It was July 4th that my dog Bill passed away on your 4th. Oh, I'm sorry, Cindy Powell. Your pets are just like your kids, you know, I know. I had a cat named Crybaby, the first cat I owned out here, and he was with me for 15 years. And when he died, it was like losing a child. I didn't even want to get another cat. I didn't want a dog. I didn't want anything, because I told my son I didn't want to become attached to him. And there's Jay. Get Jay's name down. How's Jay doing? Yeah, I'm doing this live just for Basically to chat with everybody and answer gardening questions, composting questions. Well, good, Jay. I'm glad you're doing great. You have your neighbor's dog now too. You keep him and you take care of him. He stays there. Yeah, I mean, they live so close. They know the cat is mine. They've seen him in all my videos. I know they watch my videos. And it's wrong of them to take the cat. He's been fed real well. He's been taken care of. And I know I let him out. Him and little buddy gets out on these freezing days and they were running around. But that's what cats do. Yeah, just say a prayer that they'll let him out, let him come home. I mean, and it's not all about losing the $20 deposit. I mean, that doesn't matter. It's just I would like the cat back. I've spent all summer up to now getting him used to being around here, getting him used to me, getting him calmed down to where you can pet him and hold him because he didn't want anyone touching him when he first came here because he was afraid of everything. And I finally got him settled down to where you can pet him and hold him. So now they got to take him. And there's MT. Hello, MT. How's MT doing? I know, and I was attached to Lucky. He's a sweet little kitten. Well, he's not a kitten anymore. He's almost a full-grown cat, basically. But he's a sweetheart. He's just like a little buddy. He's a sweetheart. And I've already posted pictures, several of them on Facebook again. I've posted on TikTok that if anybody sees him to please notify me that he's missing. So we'll see. But people will come in their house, they'll see that cat, they'll know that that's Lucky if they ever watched any of my videos or anything or seen pictures that I posted on Facebook. Yep, God's watching. He knows all. I mean, it's one thing to take in a stray cat, but he was not a stray cat. That cat's been well taken care of. And there's Jackie M. I don't think I got your name down again. Let me get it down. But do any of you have gardening questions? How long have we been? It was 19 minutes, so we haven't been on that long, but we've got quite a few coming in. I think this is the first time I've seen Doreen in here, because I don't recognize that name. Yes, Jackie, somebody's got Lucky. They have to have him locked up in a shed or a storage building or in their house or somewhere. But since he's a boy cat and he's not been fixed yet, I'm thinking they got him locked up in a utility room or a shed or somewhere where he can't spray around the house. That's the only reason when I bring him in at night, I put him in the pet carrier for him to sleep only. I don't keep him locked up in that all the time. Just at night for him to sleep. I let him out in the morning. He goes outside, runs around, and I feed him, and he comes back. Well, this time he didn't come back, and I know somebody got him. I mean, they have to have him or he would come home. I don't know. I like the Ponderosa Pink since I started growing them this year. I love the big boys. The hillbilly tomato plants are real good as well. The big red slicing tomatoes are good. But I found here the grape tomatoes, the cherry tomatoes, the little golden tomatoes, little bitty ones, they grow the best here in this climate. I mean, they'll grow all summer. I mean, I was still picking little tomatoes. You saw, if you watched my spaghetti video today, you saw the bowl of little tomatoes I used. That was the last bunch of tomatoes I picked from my garden. And here it is, January. Yeah, but I can't prove that they've got him. I can't go knocking on their door and accuse them of having my cat because I don't know 100% that they've got him. But in my heart, I'm pretty sure they do. No, not the black ones. I've grown cherry tomatoes. I grow the Roman tomatoes every year. Because they basically grow them in a hothouse, a greenhouse. That's why they don't have any taste to them. I can't eat a store-bought tomato because it was grown in a greenhouse. It has no taste, and I just can't eat them. I won't buy a store-bought tomato. If I need tomatoes for anything, I'll buy a canned tomato. And there's Reverend Kelly. Hello, Reverend Kelly. How are you doing this evening? I don't think I've planted those yellow pear tomatoes before. And that one little yellow yellow tomato that was in that bowl, that could have been one of the little yellow pear tomatoes. Because I didn't get hardly any of them off that bush. And I'm thinking that one yellow one that was in that bowl, because it was fully ripe, but it was yellow. I'm thinking it was a yellow pear tomato. Because it was kind of oblong. Hi, Brooklyn. I miss you in chat too. I've already texted them because I've got their phone number. I texted him, sent a picture of him, and I asked, have you seen Lucky? He's missing. And they texted back and said, yeah, he was eating on our porch yesterday at about lunchtime. Well, unless they were feeding him on the porch, he wasn't eating on their porch because from what I understand, they don't ever let their cats out of the house. They feed them inside. So I don't know. So that tells me he was over there yesterday at lunchtime. Now, if he was that close and he was around here, he would be here. I mean, all I had to do before is go out in the yard and say, Lucky, kitty, kitty, kitty. And he would break his neck coming around the corner of the house, running this way. I've been calling that cat for 2 days and 2 nights, and he's not been here. I've never been in their house, so I don't know how many cats they got in there, but I was told that they don't ever let the cats outside. So I don't know. You love to use, and you just dip in ranch dressing the cherry tomatoes. Yeah, that's good. Yep, I got a cat missing. Little Lucky is not coming home. And little Buddy knows something's wrong because he'll go out and he'll look around. He'll stand on the porch and he looks around like he's looking to see where is Lucky because Lucky's not there. He's used to Lucky being right there with him. I mean, they palled around together all the time. You saw that in my videos. They were both in the garden together. They were both on the sidewalk together. They're both on the porch together. Yeah, but I don't think we've got big birds enough that would have gotten lucky here. We've got a lot of trees around, so I don't really think a bird that big would have come down to get him. He's been missing going on 3 days now. So that leads me to know he's locked up somewhere. Somebody's got him and won't let him loose. They got him locked up and they won't let him out, so he can't come home. Well, I thought maybe a female cat, but he runs around with different cats, but he always comes home. He's not that far away. And a lot of those stray cats come up in my yard. So he doesn't have to go out of the neighborhood to find them. Yeah, they started being little buddies, and now little buddy knows something's wrong. He knows that Lucky's not here. He looks for him. I mean, sometimes if they weren't together and I called little buddy in, or I called him and little buddy would come and eat, he'd go back out later, and a little while later he'd come and he'd be scratching on the door, and I'd open it and he'd have Lucky with him. It was like he went and found him and brought him home. Peppermint, mints, marigolds, that type of plants will deter pests from your garden. A lot of bugs and things don't like mint of any kind, whether it's peppermint or regular mint. They don't like marigolds for some reason. They don't like hot peppers either. So what I do is when I I put my pepper seed out and they sprout, I'll take my hot pepper plants and I spread them all around the yard, all in the garden, all through the garden. And I do the same with the marigolds. I'll plant them all through the garden, or try to, because I know that the bugs and pests don't like them. I know, Gladys, I'm a little upset too. I wish I could go knock on someone's door and say, hey, I want my cat, but I can't. I don't know 100% positively who's got him. I've tried growing Brussels sprouts, but they don't grow well here. I've got a plant in the high tower now that I grew last year. It survived last winter. It survived this winter so far. And every time it starts to form in a little head, like a little cabbage head, the way they do, the worms attack them and just demolish them. No matter what I spray them with, or I can sprinkle 7 Dust on them even, and it does a little bit temporarily, but I can't grow them because the bugs won't leave them alone. So I've just about give up on Brussels sprouts. For this area anyway. You might can grow them where you're at. Yeah, you can find even more plants than that. I know there's more, but that's my favorites to use here in my garden, is the mints, the different types of mints. I've got mint, peppermint, marigolds, and hot pepper plants. Because the bugs and the ants do not like hot peppers. They stay away from it. Oh, interesting how bugs can make it impossible. I know, they just devour. And that's what got my winter squash and stuff this past year. My vines grew beautiful. They were blooming. I was going to have winter squash. I even had a couple of little ones. And those vine borers, even though I had sprayed my plants, got down inside the vine. And they eat it. They attack the vine from the inside out. And it seemed like no matter what I did, they just killed the plant off before it could produce anything. And I mean, it was growing so pretty. It was just sprawled all out under the shade cloth area out there under the canopy. I thought I was going to have some beautiful winter squash. I did have a few, but they were around on the other side of the yard, and they were in a big pot, like a 32-gallon pot. I think I had eggplants planted there, and I had one of those winter squashes. And I did harvest a couple of little winter squash off of it, but not many, and they were not very big. And slugs, I use salt and baking soda. I've not tried salt and baking soda. Those snails are all over my yard. They climb up the pots. They climb up the side of the house. They're everywhere. And there's Gabby Ganny. Put your name down so you go in the pot. 3 inches of snow in East Tennessee. It's going to be 19 tonight. Yeah, I was just telling everybody, a couple of our coldest nights are coming up this coming week. It'll be 19 at least 2 different nights. And that'll be the coldest it's gotten here so far. At night, that is. I take them and throw them. I'll pull them off the pots and throw them across the yard. Or I pull them off the plant and I throw them. And some of them are little bitty things. And the other ones are great big. You know, I guess those are the mommy and the daddy ones, the great. I saw some of them, they were so tiny, I didn't even think they were really the snails, but they were. I looked real close and they were little tiny bitty snails. Not even as big as a pea. And there's Diana Hinkle. Let me get your name down. Just step on the slugs. Better to throw them. I make a big mess. It works for snails too, huh? There was something else, and I don't remember what it was I came across that was supposed to be good to deter the snails from coming around your plants, and I can't remember what it was. I know you can use cinnamon sprinkled in around your plants for different types of bugs. No, because I don't think so, because I don't have paperwork to prove he's my cat. I've got pictures that, you know, that he's been here. But they could say, too, that, well, it wasn't your cat. You just got pictures of him. So I don't know what to do. I guess it's in God's hand. If he's meant to come home, somehow they'll be made to let him come home. I don't like snails. I know that is escargot and that is expensive stuff, but I don't want it. Y'all can have them. I used to date this guy. If he went to a restaurant and they had escargot, he ordered it, and he would try his best to get me to eat it. And I told him, no thank you. You eat all of it you want. I don't care what they call it. It's snails to me. You eat your belly full. I don't want them. I never will try them. He said, well, they're tasty and they're real chewy. I said, I guess they are chewy, just like rubber. But he never could get me to eat any of them. Brooklyn says, I don't eat them either. My granddaddy's just silly. If you put Vaseline around the rim of the plant, then salt too. It keeps, really, the salt and the Vaseline. Copper too. But I do know, I wish I could remember who it was that asked me how long in advance do you start your seeds indoors before you plant them outside? And it's 5 to 6 weeks before your last frost date. So it's different in what zone you live in. Like my last frost date is like the 3rd week in March. So I'm usually, if I'm going to start seeds, I'll start them in the 1st of February. And there's a lot of seeds you can plant directly outside in February. There's seeds you can plant outside in March. And usually that's what I do. Sometimes I will start them in the greenhouse. I've not had real good luck with that. The best luck I've had is I wait till like the 2nd or 3rd week in March. I fix the areas where I want them planted, and I'll take my seeds from my zucchini, my squash, cucumbers, any of that kind of stuff, and I sow them directly in the dirt. Right? Because you can put them outside then. Yeah, I can't handle them, Gladys. Yeah, they can have all the snails they want. I don't care what you call them. They're snails to me, and they're not going in my mouth. My husband will not eat mushrooms. I love them, but he says it's because they grow in. Well, my son won't eat mushrooms because he said, Mom, it's nothing but mold. And he said, I'm not eating mold. I don't care what they call it. And that's what mushrooms are. You know, because the mushrooms grow real good out in the wild after a rain when the ground's real damp. And it's mold sprouting up. I'm allergic somewhat to mushrooms, so I have eaten them, but a small amount, and I don't usually buy them. I'll eat them sometimes as an appetizer when I go to a restaurant, because I don't eat that many of them, even though I love them. So is penicillin, right, Dennis? Or Brooklyn. Snails are like biting it. I've never bitten into one, but he was telling me they were real chewy. But I thought to myself, yeah, probably when they're cooked, they're probably like trying to chew an inner tube. And I can't eat octopus. Oh my God. I tried to eat some of that in a restaurant one time. And they had it in about an inch strip, wide strip, and then about 2 inches long. And it was battered and fried. I put it in my mouth thinking, well, it's fried crispy. You should be able to chew it up, right? I put it in my mouth, and I'm chewing, and I'm chewing. And the batter tasted good. But when that's gone, all you got is that white piece of octopus meat in your mouth. You can't chew it. It's like chewing an inner tube. It has no taste at all. So I took it out of my mouth and I laid it in the plate. I said, I can't go that. And I'm not swallowing it whole. I'm fine. Oh, you're talking to Donna. Yeah, Brooklyn's talking for Dennis tonight. But yeah, I've come up with, first of all, the main thing to do is check your zone, your planting zone. And you can put in the name of your city and ask what planting zone such and such city's in. And it'll bring you to a page that'll tell you what your planting zone is, whether it's 8, 9, 7, wherever it is. And then it'll give you recommendations on what to plant at what times for that planting zone. Another thing is choose the right location. And I've told you time and time again, if you've been watching my gardening videos, that I plant stuff through trial and error in my yard that I haven't planted before. If it does well there, then I know I can plant it again another time. If it doesn't, then if it's in too much sun, I move it to partial shade. Or maybe it's growing in shade and it needs a more sun, so I move it to more sun. Because some things you can, grow in partial shade. Other things need full sun. But the misunderstanding of full sun, and there's Lyle Way. Let me put your name down before I keep talking any further. Welcome. But yeah, you got to determine the plant you got and where to plant it, whether it's getting sun, whether it gets shade, partial shade, full sun. But even when they say full sun, they don't mean a full 12 hours of sun a day. They mean like 6 hours at the most of sun for that plant. The rest of the time it can be in partial shade and it's going to be fine. I found here in my garden a lot of things appreciate the partial shade because our summer sun gets too hot for my plants to survive. And then you got to make sure your soil is prepared properly. You've got good rich soil to plant in. And there's Edith. Let me get her name down. Edith Margaret Harris. My daughter's name is Margaret. Well, I named her Linda Margaret, and we always called her Margaret because my name is Linda. Because I named her after myself and my grandmother, my mom's mom. Her name was Margaret. Or her name was Margaret Helen. And there's DeMarcus Garcia. Well, welcome, DeMarcus. Glad to have you as a new subscriber. And getting back to planting. Like I said, you need to find out what your planting zone is. But since, like Houston is in 9B, that's real close to what our climate is. They're actually a little bit warmer for longer in Houston than we are. So they could probably plant a little bit longer than we can. But some things that you can plant in January from seeds. But now this is indoors. You don't expect to put them outdoors. You can plant broccoli, cauliflower, collard greens, kale, lettuce, tomatoes, eggplants, and peppers till late January. Tomatoes you can start in January, but you need to have them indoors. Onions you can start outdoors. And leeks outdoors this in January. Like I've got my Egyptian walking onions, they live all year. They don't even die in this cold, freezing temperatures. And then for February, in February you can plant eggplants indoors, start them indoors, leeks in or outdoors. Peas outdoors, peppers indoors, potatoes outdoors, beets outdoors, carrots outside, collard greens outside until March 15th, kale in or out, kohlrabi outside until March 15th, lettuce outside until March 15th. So I need to start planting some of this stuff next month in February because I waited too late in the summer to plant a lot of that and mine didn't make it. It got too hot on them. Mustard greens outside until March 15th. Scallions outside until March 15th. All of these are basically until March 15th. Spinach outside, Swiss chard turnips. Radishes you can plant in February all the way through May 1st. Asparagus, horseradish, and rhubarb that are the crowns, you can plant those in February. I don't remember what month I planted my asparagus, but it's come up every year. And I pulled it out of the ground and I put it in a tote. And it comes up in that tote every year, and it's starting to multiply in there. I said if it gets too crowded, I'll just move some out in another tote or something. Because I love asparagus. Now, if you got transplants, you can start planting those. The broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, Chinese cabbage, kohlrabi, and tomatoes late February till April 1st. And then here it gets too hot. And see, I plant mine a lot all summer. And a lot of it does good. Some of it dies because of the heat. You got beets outside, carrots, collard greens, kale, kohlrabi, lettuce, mustard green, scallion, spinach, Swiss chard, turnips, radish, bush beans, lima beans, pole beans, cantaloupe, watermelon, corn. And that's basically, everything I've called out until I got to the lima beans, you can plant outdoors till March 15th. Radishes you can plant outdoors until May 1st. The lima beans, pole beans, cantaloupes, watermelon, and corn, it says to wait till March 15th to start planting those. But see, I wait till the second or third week in March, so that's about right. And you can plant those right on through May 1st. Corn you can plant March 15th through June, mid-June. Cucumbers March 15th through mid-June. Squash and zucchini March 15th through June. And that's when I do plant them. Pumpkins outdoors March 25th through April 30th. Now I got to remember that because I know I planted mine late in the summer and they didn't make it. The plants grew. They wanted to bloom. They had a couple of blooms on them, and then the whole vine died because of the heat. So I got to plant them earlier this year. Now, tomato transplants, you can plant those up till April 1st, and sometimes I'm planting tomato plants in May, June. Pepper plants you can transplant March 15th through mid-June. And you saw mine. I was still planting pepper seed and getting them to come up and pulling them out and moving them all around the garden in midsummer. So it depends on your area, how hot it gets, how you're planting them, if they got shade over them, do they not have shade. It depends on all that. All right, April planting for seeds. You can plant black-eyed peas. That's April 1st through mid-June. Okra, bush beans, and lima beans are all right on through April 20th. You've got pole beans through April 20th. Pumpkins until April 30th. Radishes until May 1st. Now, these are the transplants. Cantaloupe until May 1st, watermelon May 1st, corn until mid-June, cucumbers until mid-June, squash until mid-June, zucchini until mid-June. So, and see, it says here to transplant your sweet potato slips no later than May 15th. And I was planting mine at the end of the summer. I'm going to do them earlier this year. But like I said, my zucchini, my squash, my winter squashes and stuff like that, my okra, my peppers, I found all those I can just put right in the place I want them to grow and plant them from seed. If I wait till the second or third week in March to plant them. they're fine, because usually by the time the seeds germinate and come up, the freezing temperatures are gone pretty much. I mean, it snowed one year after I planted tomato plants in my garden when I had them in the ground. But a lot of my seeds had not come up yet, but I did buy some tomato plants and planted them out there. And what I did was take some big of those gardening pots, the black ones, turn them upside down, put them on top, put a rock on top to keep the wind from blowing them off. It snowed overnight. It stuck to the ground. There was about an inch of snow. I lifted the buckets off of those tomato plants. They were fine. And they survived. It was just snow that one night, and then it all melted. But they survived through it. And then later, after a few days, my seeds started popping up. Now, the tomato seeds you can plant until May 15th outside or inside. Black-eyed peas until mid-June. And I planted mine way later. Okra till mid-June. And it goes right back over a lot of this stuff. Basically, what they're telling you, in Zone 8, once you start planting like the mid-March, if you're going to directly sow outside, you can plant just about anything in your garden at that time. I've planted green, mustard greens, turnip greens, all of that stuff at that time. And it came up real good in my garden. One year, I had it just full. And that was the year the 5 cows got loose from the neighboring subdivision. And I woke up one Sunday morning and I had 5 cows in my garden. They were going to town. It was like they had a buffet. I called the police station and I said, look, I've got 5 cows devouring my garden and I don't know who they belong to. And they said, well, we know who they belong to. I'm pretty sure. We're always getting calls on these cows because they're getting out quite often. I said, well, you need to come get them and do something. And, well, we don't have the equipment to come pick up cows. I said, well, my neighbors are talking about having a free barbecue. So I think it'd be the best if you come get these cows. They came out here with a trailer to carry cattle in, and they picked those cows up. Yeah, I got to get my stuff ready. I've got poles I've got to get in the ground. You know, these 8-foot poles that I'm going to hook my shade cloth to over that garden center, or the section from my garden where I had that canopy up. I'm having to take that canopy frame out because it was just destroyed. And what I'm going to do is just put these 8-foot, either 1 by 1 inch poles, or 1 by 2s in there. Or is it 2 by 2? Something like that. Because I can I can't put those in the ground, but what I can do is get a 5-foot section of rebar, and I can pound that down through the rock deep enough that I can attach that wooden pole to it, tape it and wire it together with that rebar, and it'll hold it up there, even when the wind blows and everything. That's what I did last year. So that's what I'm going to try to do this year, but I've got to buy more poles. I've got to buy more rebar. And it's too cold right now to mess with it. I don't want to be out there and my hands start hurting because it's so cold. Zipper peas. I don't think I've ever planted zipper peas. I did not eat yet. My helper will come tomorrow afternoon. You mean you got to wait till tomorrow? You got to wait till tomorrow afternoon to eat anything? I can't believe that. They should have somebody working in that nursing home or whatever place you're in that they serve you your meals, 3 meals a day. I can't believe you've not eat anything today. And you're not going to eat till tomorrow afternoon when your helper comes. That's outrageous. Well, you know, this is one thing that my channel is about, is gardening, composting in place. And I started out having question and answer lives just for people to come in that had questions about gardening, composting, and that type of thing, so I could answer questions. And I haven't done it because a lot of people came in, they didn't have questions, they didn't garden, they weren't interested, so we just ended up chatting. But those two people that were in my chat last night were asking gardening questions, and I don't think either one of them are here tonight. But maybe they'll watch the live later, hopefully. Yeah, the fall and the early spring, like March or February, you know, the month of February is a good time to plant greens because they love the cooler temperatures. I mean, in the heat of the summer, they don't like it and the bugs eat them up. But in the cooler temperatures, any type of greens loves it. Well, I ate a plate of my spaghetti and meatballs because I still had some left. No, you don't have anything to apologize for, Edith. I'm just sorry that you're there and you haven't eaten anything today. And you're not going to eat until tomorrow afternoon. That's... Yeah, I mean, if she's in a nursing facility, they should supply her with 3 meals a day, bring them to her. Yeah, that. I'm worried too because that doesn't sound right. I tell you what, I'd be getting on somebody at that facility if they haven't brought me a meal in a day. You know, I went all day and I haven't eaten anything. They didn't bring me any food. Somebody would be in trouble. And there's Zoe, Elizabeth. I'm writing everybody's name down as they come in so I can put their name in the bucket over there for the drawing. No, that's not right at all. You got to eat. I mean, they can't just leave you there and not feed you. Yeah, she needs to say something. Can't you call like the front desk of that facility? There's got to be somebody you can call and tell them that you haven't had any food today. And there's Chill Canuck. I don't remember if you're in the United States or not. I'm not here for long, just saying, well, that's fine, you came. You're here. Yeah, I hate to think of you being there all day and you haven't had anything to eat. And then you're thinking that you're going to have to wait till tomorrow afternoon when your helper gets there to be able to eat. They should be bringing your meals to you. You shouldn't have to have a helper there to get your meals. They should be bringing it to you. Mid-March. You can start your squash outside in mid-March, around March 15th. Or you can start them 5 or 6 weeks before that indoors. That way you can take the transplants and put them outside. And there's Shatika. How is Shatika doing this evening? I mean, they should be bringing you trays with your food on it every single meal and leaving it in your room regardless of whether you eat it or not. Okay, Gladys, you have a blessed night. Don't let the bed bugs bite. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon, hopefully. Yeah, they have all that stuff that you can snack on. Cereal, oatmeal, Jell-O, ice cream. There's no excuse for you having to be there all day with no food. They should be feeding you. I'd be complaining to somebody. Somebody's going to get in trouble over that. I'm looking to see how long I've been on here. You all take talking about old folks' homes. It's a nursing facility, old folks' home, or I don't know what they call it. But she said she's been all day without no food. They've not brought her any food. And she said she probably wouldn't eat until tomorrow afternoon when her helper comes. She shouldn't have to have a helper there. They should be bringing her food. Does anybody else have any gardening questions or composting questions? Yeah, I made some tea with honey, but I haven't had to use it too much. I've took a couple of sips off of it. I don't know, Diana. Do you have any family close by, Edith? I've been gone a while. Where you been, Tamara Aimling? Got to go to the ladies' room. Be back. Okay, Jackie. You're excused. If it's this time of year, it's because of the colder weather. Tomatoes need the heat to grow and ripen. But they don't want to be in the shade 24/7. They like about 6 hours of shade, 6 hours of sun. Oh, talking with your brother in Oregon. That's a pretty good deal in the summer. Well, usually tomatoes do take a little while to ripen. I mean, they come on green and they've got to mature before they start to ripen. So it takes them a little while. No, I've got it in a wired in square section. And the wire is held up. It's chicken wire, basically. Or something like chicken wire. It's not really chicken wire. It may be the rabbit wire or whatever they call it. And I've got it up on posts, the fence posts at the corners. And I've got a gate at the front that I can open to, dig some out of the bottom. But unless the squirrels get in the top of it and eat stuff off the top, I haven't had anybody bothering it. Dogs don't get in it because they don't go up that high. I've been planting in 5-gallon buckets, Gabby. And what I do, because it's so dry here and water's so scarce, I leave about that much, about 2 or 3 inches of a reservoir in the bottom of that 5-gallon bucket And then I wait 2 or 3 inches, and then I put my hole up here. So it's got a water reservoir in the bottom of it. And I do my big pots that way. I do my totes, my 18-gallon totes that way that I plant in. The only ones that I don't do that are the pots that already have holes in the bottom, and I can't help that. So, yeah, cherry tomatoes are fun to grow. I love fried green tomatoes. I did a video on frying some, and they were so good. I made some dip to go with them. Oh, I could eat my weight in those things. Yes, some tomatoes are easier to grow, like I said, the cherry tomatoes, the Roma tomatoes, the grape tomatoes, the little tomatoes are so much easier to grow, and they'll grow all summer long. They might stop at the hottest time of the summer, but then when it starts cooling off, they'll start producing tomatoes again. That's how I had that bowl of tomatoes to fix my spaghetti sauce with in that video I posted this morning. I had just recently picked those tomatoes before we got the night's freeze. Right. Yeah, if you're in an area like I am where it's real dry, it gets real hot, and you got to water a lot, it's good to leave about that much water reservoir in the bottom of that 5-gallon bucket, and your totes as well. Just go that far up and put your drain hole. Drain out, and the tube will drain it into another pot or a bucket for compost tea, and I can re-water the plant with it. Exactly, up on the sides instead of the bottom. Now, if you live in a real rainy and wet area, you don't do that. But here, yeah, I need to do it. I need to hold water in the bottom of my buckets, my totes, and everything I plant in. Yeah, you can buy some tomatoes and take the seeds out of them and plant them, and they'll grow. Peppers will too. And if you watched any of my videos over the summer, you saw me take seeds out of bell pepper, the gold one, the orange one, and the green one, the red one. And I planted every one of them seeds, and I had tons of bell pepper all over the yard. It takes them a long time to come up. You'll think they're not going to come up, and then all of a sudden you'll almost give up. Oh, well, they're not going to come up. You'll walk out there one day and look, and you'll have a whole slew of little bitty tomato seeds up. Those meatballs are good. I love ground beef meatballs. I don't particularly like the ones made with sausage, but I love them with ground beef. Yeah, that's what I do. If I buy a tomato at the store, which I don't usually do, but if I do have a tomato and I like it, I will take the seeds and plant it to give me those plants. Yeah, and I had one type of lettuce that grew real good here, and I don't remember what it was, and I haven't been able to get seeds to grow again like that one. And I had that one head of lettuce. You buy it with the roots on the head, and you cut the lettuce off, and then you plant the root of it, and it grows more lettuce. One of those did fantastic that first year I planted it. The second one I planted didn't do anything. Well, see, like here and in Houston, we have about 9 months of growing season. This has been a milder winter, so usually through December, January, and February are our bad months. And we don't usually plant much of anything during that time unless it is a collard or something like that. which I've already got mine out. They're growing. And I want to try to get my potatoes planted early this year, not wait till the end of the summer. And I may have more potatoes when I harvest them. Oh no, you're in Canada, so you get 3 to 4 months of growing season top. I do too. I love tomatoes in the garden. I won't buy a store-bought tomato and make with it because there's no taste to it. I told my son that, and he said, Mom, how can the ones that you grow yourself taste different than the ones in the store? They grow them too. I said, well, buy yourself a tomato plant and grow your tomatoes. Eat one, and then eat a store-bought tomato and see the difference. He did, and he buys his own tomato plants now, and he usually has 4 or 5 tomato plants and pepper plants out along his house where he grows his own tomatoes and peppers each year. Yeah, it was the butter. The butter lettuce is the one that I planted with the root on it, the head of lettuce, and I need to get another one. I'd like to get another one of those going. You like it with butter and mayo? I don't put butter on my tomato sandwich, but I do put mayo and bacon and lettuce with my tomato. Yeah, I had one person that came in and asked me about gardening, and they were dealing with human compost. And he said he had a neighbor that complained about it because he said it smelled. Well, he said his compost pile didn't smell because they keep it covered with straw and different stuff, that it doesn't smell up the neighborhood. And he was asking me questions about human compost, and I couldn't answer them because I've never dealt with human compost. My compost is all from broken down wood, leaves, table scraps, garden scraps, native soil, all that kind of stuff, cardboard, newspapers, that type of thing broken down. That's what I build my soil with in my raised beds, my totes, my pots, everything I plant in. I've got a tote out there on the back patio now. I showed in one of my last videos where I'm building soil in it right now. I've got table scraps. I've got plants, dead plants, leaves. I've got paper. I've got cardboard, coffee grounds. You name it in that tote. It's full to the top. But as soon as it starts getting warm, hot weather, it'll break down in a heartbeat. It won't take it no time to break down. And that's going to be so good to plant in. That way you can have a big garden. You can have a lot of totes and a lot of buckets, and you don't have to spend outrageous amount of money to buy bagged potting soil. And it's so much better. Well, the only thing about human compost is you can build your compost pile the way you're supposed to do it. And there's a rhythm to it, just like my compost, layering it with different stuff. It's the same way with human compost. The only difference is you got to leave it set for like a whole year before it's safe to use it in your garden. And mine breaks down a lot quicker, the way I do my compost. So I don't have any need to use human compost, and I don't think I want to deal with human compost. You had a cousin that got sick from using chicken compost from his chicken house. Well, I don't use chicken compost or chicken manure because it's too hot, as they call it. You can't use chicken manure on your plants directly from the chicken pen. You got to put it in a compost pile, and you got to let it break down for a certain length of time before it's safe to put on your plants, or it'll burn your plants up. So I don't use that either. Yeah, I've never dealt with the human compost, but they were asking questions about it. And some of the people in my chat kind of made smart remarks about it. because they didn't know nothing about it. They've never grown a garden. They've never tried composting of any type. And it made them feel bad, and they never came back to my lives again because they felt like people were making fun of them. And so I quit having the question and answer time. And that's one thing that my subscribers have to understand. When someone comes in a question and answer live like this, it doesn't matter what kind of question they ask about growing plants or composting. Don't make fun of them, because if you make fun of them, it's because you don't know. You know, you don't know what they're doing. You don't know what they're dealing with. Because people all over the world use human compost. I don't. I'm not going to. I don't have a reason to. So, you know, but other people do. Yeah, black cow manure is good. I buy that sometimes myself. I've used it in my garden. When I need to supplement my own compost with more compost, I buy the black cow. Oh, they're getting you food. Well, good for you, Edith. You know, they say that, and I've never tried it because I've never had rabbits, but they say rabbit manure or the rabbit droppings is the best thing in the world to use on your garden, whether it's flowers, vegetables, trees, anything, because you can use it right away. You don't have to do anything to it. It will not burn your plants up. You can take it right from the rabbit house and put it right in your garden bed. But I don't have rabbits, so I don't have their droppings to use. Yeah, I'm so glad that Edith is getting her some food. I couldn't believe the poor lady's been there all day without food. And I'm wondering, too, how many other days has she been there like that and not eaten? Now you have me thinking of deer manure or elk or bear coal mine. Yeah, probably. I've never used it because I've never had that to use. But cow manure is great. If you got cows, go get you some cow patties and put it in your garden. My daughter-in-law, Regina, she's from around New York area. And I think her family has some kind of farm or something up there. And she said her aunts would come visit them about planting time because they wanted to get all the cow manure that they could get. They put it in containers and took it home with them to put in their garden because they called it their goal because it was so good to, you know, get everything to grow. So they'd come get cow patties. Well, my son's got a couple of cows, but he doesn't really have that much manure. And I haven't been out there picking any of it up. I mean, I guess I could get a 5-gallon bucket and go out there sometime when I'm over there and pick up enough cow patties to fill a 5-gallon bucket and bring it home. I'd have to put it in the trunk. I don't know about that, Dennis. You've asked me something I couldn't answer. I don't think I want to mess with rat manure. Don't think I want to mess with it. But your plants out of your garden, any of the leaves that look like they're dying off or turning yellow, just break all those leaves off and throw them in a bucket with some water. And in a couple of days, especially in the summer in the heat, you'll have some of the best compost tea you could ever use. And that's plant food. That's your fertilizer. I have buckets of it, or 32-gallon containers of compost tea all over my backyard for my garden. Well, no, manure is not manure. Human manure is a little bit different than chicken manure or rabbit manure or cow manure. Yeah, I don't even like to think about rat manure in my garden. Those rats are nasty. But you know, there's some people, if they live in areas where they don't have animals to get manure from, they don't have plants and stuff to get them started to get compost tea and things like that. All they might have is a little bit of food scraps. They might be the ones that would think about human manure. I mean, it would take them a whole year before they could use it. Because I've heard you got to pile it up the certain way, the correct way to do it, and it's covered, and then you got to leave it sit there for at least a year before you can even think about using it. But I mean, you know, if you can do it and you can do it right, I guess it's a good way to go if you got enough human manure. Well, I could do that, but I don't want to carry 5-gallon buckets of water. My neck and my back can't handle 5 gallons of weight. I could fill 5 gallons up and put them in the trunk of my car with lids on them so they don't spill out and get the car wet, but I can't pick a 5-gallon bucket up that's full. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, well, you know, because you don't usually see me watering my garden. If I can't use the water hose, I'm using a little, like, 2.5 gallon yellow bucket to water my plants because I can't carry a 5-gallon bucket. Will what still be good next year? The compost tea? Oh, yeah. Once you put it there, it's good forever. You just keep adding to it. Just keep adding plants or potato peelings even, lettuce leaves, all kind of stuff like that. And keep water to it. Leave it there for a few days and you got compost tea. It's plant food. And that pepper spray, you know, I did a video on pepper spray. That works amazingly well for okra plants. I could not believe it. I've always had ants devouring my okra every year. And I used that pepper spray on them this year. Oh my God. I'd go out there one day because I saw an ant crawling up the stalk. I'd spray them all down. I'd go out there in 2 or 3 days and look at them, and they've grown 2 or 3 inches and they're looking really green and pretty. It's like they're dancing. They're happy, you know, because all the bugs are gone. The bugs won't stay on them when you spray them with pepper spray. Yeah, I can't carry the weight because I've had neck surgery and lower back surgery, and I can't handle the weight on my neck. I'm glad that they've let us go back to watering with our water hose, but now they've got us late at night, like 12 at night to 4 in the morning, or sometime in the morning till like 11 a.m. or something like that. I can handle that, but and there's been times in the summer when it's been so hot, I waited till 12 or 1 a.m. to get out there and water my garden because it was cooler. It was unbearable out there earlier in the day. Yeah, human waste is sold. And it's fertilizer. It's good lawn fertilizer, and it's good for your garden too, your vegetable garden, if you know how to build your compost piles with it. I've never known anybody with a human waste compost pile. I've never dealt with it myself, so I don't really know anything about it, but I've watched a few videos, and that one thing I do remember hearing them say is you got to let it set for a whole year before you can use it. You mix straw and all kind of stuff in with it. You cover it. And then you just let it sit there and start another pile somewhere else. Yeah, I know. A lot of people don't know a lot of stuff about gardening, Gabby. Some people will think you lost your mind if you said just cut a potato up and plant the pieces and it'll grow potato plants. When you get tomato plants growing, if you find a tomato plant you really love and you love the tomatoes, just break a piece off of it and root it. You can break a piece off, stick it right down in the same pot, and it'll start another plant for you. Well, if you stop to think about it, Diana, any of the manure is gross. Not only human manure. It's just the idea because you've never used it before. I don't want to deal with human manure myself. Yeah, I'm going to try to do like I did last year, plant a little bit of everything. But I want to get stuff planted earlier this year, not wait till the end of the summer. Because I didn't even get my sweet potatoes to grow the slips till the end of the summer, and that was way too late. Well, I've got 100-foot hoses here. My house is in the middle of my lots, and my lots are only 150 across by 110 deep. So if my hoses start from the center out, I've got plenty of hose if they're 100-foot long. Because I've got one in the backyard at the shed, and I got one here at my back door. No human manure here ever. Like I said, I've never known anyone personally that has used human manure. You know, I've never known anybody to build a human manure pile. Everybody I've ever always known and knew had garden, it was always cow manure, chicken manure, rabbit manure, you know, stuff like that. Mushrooms ground up in your soil. Fish. Fish is one of the best things in the world you could put in a row with your plants. Go down your row and plant a couple of fish all down your row of where you're going to plant your seeds or your plants. If you're in an area where the dogs can't dig them up. I do the next best thing. I use fish emulsion. It's concentrated. So it only takes a little bit in like 2 gallons of water to start watering your plants, and it feeds them. I use that right in with my compost tea. I use Epsom salts. Epsom salts is real good to put to your plants. And I dilute it down either in water, or I'll just put it right in my compost tea. So I'm watering with Epsom salts and compost tea at the same time. And fish emulsion. Yeah, I throw eggshells in my compost. Yeah, manure is considered organic, just like your compost tea. That's as organic as you can get. There's no chemicals in it. Well, potatoes are pretty good for you. A lot of people don't realize it. They think if you need to lose weight, you need to quit eating potatoes, but that's not true. And sweet potatoes are even better for you than the white potatoes. Well, I buy Epsom salts by like the 5 or 6 gallon, or 6 pound, not gallon, 6 pound bag. And it's for like $5 or $6. And if I've got a 32-gallon container of compost tea, I might put a cup of Epsom salts in that whole 32 gallons and mix it up and put fish emulsion in there. Mix it up. So I got 3. I got my compost tea, my fish emulsion, and I've got my Epsom salts in there. Or if you just got a few plants, if you just take maybe a teaspoon of Epsom salts and sprinkle it right around the base of your plant. And then it'll dilute down when you water it. You'll see a big difference in your plant. Right. Sweet potatoes are high in potassium. I like the red potatoes and the gold potatoes. And the butter potatoes I love, the big butter ones. I love to take I love to take the big butter potatoes and bake them instead of the bacon potatoes, because they're moist when you go to eat them, and they have the best taste in the world. My daughter was here, I don't know if it was for lunch or dinner one time, her and her husband Rick, and I cooked something and I baked butter potatoes with it. And when my daughter started eating her potatoes, she says, "Oh my God, these are the best baked potatoes I've ever had. They taste buttery." And she said they're kind of yellow looking. "What kind of potatoes are these?" I said, "They're butter potatoes." And I said, "You can't get them all the time. But when I do see them in the store, I'll buy some of them because I love them." Yeah, I eat sweet potatoes cold. I eat white potatoes cold. Well, I harvest in the buckets that I've got out there. Um, like I said, my totes and my pots are fixed. My buckets, a lot of them are fixed with spouts coming out that hole that's about 2-3 inches up in the side of the bucket. I've got a little hose coming out. It's only maybe 4 inches long, but it's long enough that it points the compost tea that comes out of that bucket into a bucket below. So I catch all of that excess compost tea coming out of the plants and the soil in that tote, the overflow. It runs down in the bucket. That's compost tea. And I re-water my plants with it. If you'll see any of my videos where I show my totes and the buckets lined up in front, that's why those buckets are lined up on the ground in front of the pink totes. And a lot of the other totes is that they're catching that compost tea, the excess draining out of the tote. Because the water reservoir is full, there's excess coming out, and I'm catching it in those buckets below, and I reuse the compost tea. That's how I save on water, too. And there we got Kenan 858. Hello, I don't know if you've been here before or not. No, you don't want to drink this tea. The plants love to drink it, but you don't want to drink it. I mean, you go back and look at a lot of my videos of me showing the yard in my totes, especially the pink ones, because you can see real good the black little buckets that are down on the ground below the totes. The totes are up on a platform, and the little spouts are aimed right above the bucket. And when it rains, the tote fills up, it overflows, it runs in the bucket, and it fills the buckets up. So I'll have all those buckets to go around and re-water my plants with. And it's all compost tea. Oh, you're from Turkey. Wow. Well, welcome from Turkey, Kenan 858. Glad to have you. How's the weather in Turkey right now? They're similar, but they're not the same. I mean, the Yukon Gold, they have the name Yukon Gold. When you have the real butter potatoes in the store, that's what's on that little sign. It'll say butter potato. So there is a little bit of a difference. And like I said, I don't find them all the time. Yeah, I'd love to have a good old baked butter potato right now. I love them. Yukon Golds are good baked too. But I never did like the regular baking potatoes because they come out too dry for me. I mean, they're good, but I'd rather have a different potato baked. Linda, you should write a book. Well, I've had so many people tell me already, you need to write a cookbook. I thought to myself, it'd take me the rest of my life to write a cookbook, and then I'd never reap the rewards from it. I'd rather just cook some of my recipes on YouTube. Yeah, I like Irish potatoes. I mean, I use them all the time. I've got a 5-pound bag of those under my cabinet right now. And I think little buddy wants to come back in. He went out a while ago. Oh. See if he brought Lucky home with him. Where's Lucky? You didn't bring Lucky home. You didn't bring Lucky home with you. No, you didn't. Oh, Keenan, I was watching a video today of the celebrity homes that were destroyed. I could not believe it. I mean, they're multi-million-dollar homes burnt completely to the ground. There's nothing but ash left. "30-page max, easy reader, and yummy recipes." I know, and I never could understand what caused the fire. What caused it to start and where it started from. Somewhere in Los Angeles, but I don't know where. Did it start from a brush fire? You know, there had to be something that started the fire somewhere. I mean, the last I heard, there was 10 people that died. They were finding people trapped in homes everywhere that they had to rescue them out. I mean, it's just unreal. Yeah, I heard that too on that celebrity video of their homes burning. They said there was insurance companies that canceled their house insurance 4 months before these fires started. It's almost like they knew the fires were going to take place, you know? Why would Farmers Insurance all of a sudden just cancel home insurance on these people? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Jackie M. It sounds awfully suspicious that an insurance company would cancel home insurance on homes 4 months before the whole area is destroyed by fire. We need a man like Merle Haggard from Aldi. Yeah, I never did hear how it started. I know here in Texas, most of the fires start in the dry, hot season, just from people throwing cigarette butts out the car window going down the highway. It sets off that little bit of grass on the side of the highway, and it just spreads like crazy from there. Or sometimes, like I said, it gets so hot you can literally fry an egg on an automobile sitting in the sun. The sun actually gets so hot out here sometimes that's what starts the fires. Yeah, you're exactly right. Insurance monies are there to make money. They're not there to take care of you in a time of crisis. My homeowner's insurance, I can't imagine all the money I paid into them over the years I've had house insurance on this place. And I'll never get back even half of what I've paid into those people. Oh, Patty C, your daughter's getting married end of this year. Of 25? Because we're just starting a new year, you know. So she's got a year to plan her wedding. She gonna have it in Wilmington? Newport. I started saying if she's gonna have it in Wilmington, I might end up in North Carolina during the time she gets married. I might crash her wedding. 2 hours from Wilmington. I don't think I've ever been to Newport. Yeah, congratulations to your daughter. Well, my niece had just announced the expectation of her first child around Christmas time. And I came across this sad, sad post on Facebook where she was notifying the family that their baby had went to be with God. She ended up in the hospital. She lost the baby, and she ended up going through some kind of surgery. I don't know what. I mean, she didn't go into details. And then I said, well, that was so sad. That was their first child. Well, that would have been their first child. They're high school sweethearts. Yeah, she posted on Facebook about it, and I just happened to come across the post when she announced it, and I said, oh my gosh. Because everybody was just jumping with joy when she announced that they were going to have a baby, and next thing I knew, you know, everything happened. What are you doing, little buddy? Come here. And there's Too Tall Rob. I'm doing great, Too Tall. How are you? Yeah, her name's Ashley Parker. She's on Facebook. I don't know if any of you happen to go on Facebook or are friends with me on Facebook, but she posted it on there. And there's It's Me, Ann. Hello, it's me, Ann. Just getting started feeding the critters tonight. Well, my little Lucky's disappeared. I think somebody's got him locked up somewhere, or he would be coming home. In fact, I know they have. Somebody's got him pinned up somewhere so he can't come home. That's why he's not come home. This is going on the third day that he's been missing. Or today was the third day. I want my little fur baby to come home. Oh, Gabby, your mom is turning 90 next week. Well, I hope you planned a big celebration for her. He was gone 2 days last time. And I had just about given up, and then all of a sudden he showed up, which I was just tickled to death. Yeah, they're hibernating. They don't want to get out in the cold. They got better sense than to get out there in the ice and snow. Yeah, I hope Lucky comes home pretty soon, too. I went to an estate sale while I was out getting donuts today. What a beautiful house. I had to see who selling it. Maybe I'd get a bit in. Yeah, I need to clean out kitchen cabinets, but every time I think about it, I said, nah, I don't want to do that today. I keep putting it off. I need to build a cabinet to go over here and move this cart out. It's been too cold and messy out to do anything outside. All right, Too Tall, you have a good night too. Sleep tight tonight and don't let the bed bugs bite. Oh no, Dennis, you put out rat poison and a raccoon ate it all and stood up to me like a man. Oh my goodness. I think the last time I went over and checked on Too Tall Rob's videos or his lives, I think there was just a cat on the railing. He was eating all by his lonesome. It didn't even faze him, Dennis. He was a tough boy, huh? Oh my goodness. He was laughing at you. You sure it was rat poison and it wasn't cat treats or something? Hmm. Well, I used to have so many raccoons, possums, armadillos, cats, you name it, come in here and they'd get under my house and make it their home and have babies under there. And I finally got all my underpinning barricaded so no critters could get under my house. I mean, I was catching them every year. There's one of the possum that I caught. He's still in the trap. I took a picture of him the day I caught him before I took him off and let him run across the field. My granddaughter come in when she was little and saw that. Grandmama, where is that at? Do you have that? I said, that's a possum that Grandma caught that was living under the house. She said, where is he? Where is he? I said, he's gone now. Grandmama had to take him for a ride. Dropped something on the floor. I don't know what it was. I'll get it later, I guess. But I'll never forget that raccoon. I caught in the trap one night. He was a great big raccoon. I mean, healthy looking raccoon. And he had his head was scalped. I mean, right across there, all the way back, all the top of his head, just scalped right off. And I guess it's where he forced his way under the underpinning, and he got on that aluminum underpinning panel, and he just scraped the whole top of his head off. I felt bad for him. It looked painful, but he didn't act like it hurt him or nothing. He just looked at me like, well, what are we going to do now? I left him in the cage. I put him in the car, in the trunk, took him for a ride down the road and put him out on the side of the road and watched him run across the field. I said, that poor thing, he scalped himself getting under the house or getting out from under it. One time I put out red pepper flakes in my garden pots thinking it would keep away squirrels. Well, it just grew peppers. I've got a lot of squirrels around here. I mean, this is squirrel heaven because I've got oak trees in my yard and they drop tons and millions of acorns. And the squirrels love the acorns. Yeah, I don't put out poison for anything unless it's roaches or something like that that's in the house. And then I put it where animals can't get to it. Just the roaches and the ants and the bugs. Well, I have armadillos, possum, raccoons. And like I said, I got millions of squirrels, road runners, occasional snake or two over the years. I haven't seen a snake in many years. But the armadillos will come in my yard early, about daylight, and they root up the real fine little grass sprouts. That's what they eat. They eat the roots of those little grass sprouts. And you think hogs have been in your yard rooting. They keep you up at night, Dennis. Lend my message. Karen Meyer. Did you put a message in here that I didn't see? Linda, your black cover that damaged when that need to go up. Yeah, that black, it was shade cloth over my garden, the canopy. I'm going to put shade cloth back up, but I'm not going to put it on that metal canopy frame that was up last year. The wind just devoured it, just messed it all up. So I'm going to use wood, I don't know what you call them. They're not, well, wood poles. They're like some of them are 1 by 2 inches, and some of them you can get, they're 2 by 2 inches. And I can get them upright and fasten them to a piece of rebar in the ground. Fasten with wire and tape, and it'll hold it good enough that it'll hold the shade cloth up. And I won't have to worry about the wind pulling it up and flipping it over because it'll be attached in the ground. Yeah, I don't need it out there now, but in the heat of the summer, I need shade cloth up out there over the garden. But when the weather fares out, I've got to get out there and continue on getting my pots and totes and everything. Start getting it ready for planting in mid-March. I just don't have any luck starting most stuff in the greenhouse. It usually gets too hot in the greenhouse and it burns everything up. My plants will come up, little bitty sprout. I'll go out there the next day and it'll be flopped over and dead because it gets hot in there, I guess. Sometimes I think it would be better just to have the tarp over the top and not have the plastic covering on the greenhouse itself. Just have the sides open and just have a canopy over the top. I don't know. But I've got 5 or 6 bags of wood mulch in there that I need to get out and do something with. I've just got so much going on, so many things to do, so many different directions to go in. I can't get it all done, y'all. My back and my neck injury won't let me do all that. I have to pace myself, do a little bit today, a little bit tomorrow. Can't do it all in one day or 2 days. Really, you're starting to see armadillos in Tennessee now. You never saw them before. Huh. Oh, and I got another person here, Nick. Hello, Nick. How are you doing? You just slipped right in here on me. I didn't even see you up there. I think all of the little critters are pretty, and I don't want to kill them, but I don't want them living under my house either. I mean, I think that the deer out there are too pretty to shoot. I'd never be one to go hunting because I couldn't shoot them. I don't even want to shoot a bird. Now I'll go catch a fish. My brothers have shot many a bird, though. Brought those birds home and told Mama to cook them. She'd clean those little tiny birds and put them in a pot of rice and cook them up, and we'd eat them. They were good, but there was nothing but basically bones on them little critters' bodies. Yeah, I managed. I mean, the big black cover was not damaged. It was the frame that was holding it up that was damaged. And I was able to get it down and get it in the shed. And I'll be able to reuse that this year. I just got to get the poles to put it up that will hold it up. And I've got some smaller ones. I'm going to put up more shade this year than I did before. Because like I said, I'm not using that metal frame anymore. Love to eat quail. I don't think I've ever eaten quail. My brother and his wife used to raise quail. They had them in pens in their backyard, but they sold the eggs to restaurants. The little tiny quail eggs, because they said the restaurants bought them all the time for a delicacy. They had them on their menu, and they got quite a bit for them on their menu too. Yeah, but everybody catches fish. I mean, and the Bible tells you to eat fish. That's one of the critters that the good Lord above said it's okay for us to eat. Really, they're high cholesterol? I don't know. I've never eaten one. But I know she said the restaurants would buy all of them that they could take over there because they have them on their menu as a delicacy. People order every one they've got. They don't last long in that restaurant they sold them to. They didn't sell the quail, but they sold the quail eggs. Quail eggs cause diarrhea. Why would they do that? I mean, an egg is an egg. Looks like it'd be just like a chicken egg almost. I mean, it's just a smaller egg from a smaller bird. Gina said her grandfather hunted quail on horseback. Wow. That was a trick, shooting a quail by horseback. I'm writing people's names down as they come in, like Gina. She just come in. Yeah, I see you're new, and I just put your name down to go in our drawing. We're going to have a drawing February 6th. It's our regular trivia night at 7 p.m. Central. For a gift card and for your choice of either cowboy candy, cowboy relish, pepper jelly, or chow chow. But I've thrown in a gift card with it, and I'm not sure about the amount yet. It'll be at least $10 or more. And there's Keith Sweatpants. I haven't seen you in a while. Where you been, Keith? We have trivia night every Thursday night at 7. And I have a chat get-together on Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m., which will be tomorrow. And I've thrown in something extra tomorrow. It's not going to be just a chat. I'm going to cook something, or I'm going to fix something. I'm not telling you what. It has to do with chicken breasts. You can see on the thumbnail of my video or my live. Well, I put it up high enough so I can walk under it, because the poles are up high, but when I hook the cloth to it, it's going to sag a little bit. And I had a center pole that helped keep it propped up, so it doesn't hit my head when, sag down and hit on my head. But that's one reason it's up as high as it is because it does sag down some. And those poles will move a little bit. They'll sway. Rather than the wind pull them out of the ground and flip the frame over. Because there's not going to be a frame. Yeah, I put up on the thumbnail of the live tomorrow, what am I going to do with these 2 chicken breasts? I got 2 chicken breasts on the picture. I'll leave the rest to y'all's imagination. Just wonder what I'm going to do with those 2 chicken breasts. You know I'm going to cook them, but I don't know how. Or you don't know how. I know how. You don't. Hey, it just flipped over 2 hours we've been on live. I guess I should let y'all go, and some of you probably need to get to bed. I'm getting a little tired. What I'm going to do, though, is kick back, put my feet up, and watch a movie of some kind. You're making crock pot chicken thighs with cream of mushroom. Oh, that sounds good. No, I don't think I've tried cracked chicken before in a crock pot. I haven't. I don't do too much in crock pots. I don't have the patience to wait all day most of the time. And every time I've ever tried to make baby back ribs in a crock pot, they just cooked all 2 pieces. And I went to take them out and they just fall apart. You couldn't even pick them up by the bone. And I said, well, I'm not fixing baby back ribs in there. I like to fix them either on my grill or in my oven because they're done and they're tender, but I can at least pick the rib up and bite it without the meat just falling off the bone the way I like them. I don't know. I don't know what movie. I haven't decided. I just thought I'd go over there and sit down, put my feet up, and kind of go through some of the movies and see what's available and see what looks good. I think I've seen Sling Blade before. Marry Me Chicken or $1 Million Chicken. I think Marry Me Chicken or million. I've never. Is that a movie? I've never heard of them. Cream cheese and ranch dressing mix and shredded chicken. That sounds like a winner. All right, Diane Hinkle. So glad you came. And like I said, I need to let y'all go because it's late. We've been on here for 2 hours. I've enjoyed it, though. I could be on here another 2 hours, but we need to get some rest because we can get on here tomorrow and do this all over again. No chicken, Ann? You have a good night too, Louise. In fact, everybody that came into my live tonight, you have a blessed night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. I'll see you tomorrow if possible. 3 p.m., remember. I want to see all of you there. And I'm going to get busy and cut these apart and put them in the jar again. I do it every time after my live ends. I'll get my scissors and I start cutting these names apart. And I fold them up and I stick them in the jar. That way they don't pile up on me. I don't have to sit there all day to do it. So good night, everybody. Like I said, sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. And I'll see you on the next one. Love y'all. Bye now.